Healing is all about choices. In today's video, I'm going to talk about what I had to say yes and no to in order to heal from chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, hypothyroid, and loads of other things. Because before I got chronic fatigue, my life was not particularly balanced. So keep watching because some of these are going to surprise you. I spent years looking for somebody to fix me, and it was only after so many failures along the way, and there were a lot, and also realizing that it was more of a holistic approach that I needed rather than just looking for someone to save me. I decided that I needed to go a different way. When I realized that nobody was going to save me and that there was no one else who would care about my health as much as I did. So I had to take a new approach, which was becoming really a coordinator and leader of my healing journey and bringing other people in, but always knowing that I steered the ship because ultimately I cared the most about the outcome. I had no idea when I was in the middle of drama just how draining it is. And there's drama from all different areas of our lives. We've got celebrity drama, news drama, which of course the news channels really hype everything up so that you're in a state of constant fright. And then of course there were friends and family with their own stresses and worries, which they would pile on me as well. And I asked myself, is this really serving me and do I enjoy being involved in it? And the answer was no. So it had to go. So let me know if you're having any ahas at this point in the video. Your comments really help me to make better content. So this sounds counter to the first point, but there was a point in my healing journey when I went totally alone. And I tried to figure out things like managing my emotions and managing stress because I thought that that was something that was very easy to do on my own. And I tried to work out my own supplements and I put loads of effort in on both these areas, and I didn't get any results because I didn't take enough of the supplements I was taking, or even the right ones, and I couldn't get to the source of the stress that I was experiencing, and I didn't have the skills to do it. And healing's hard enough without having to try to work out everything on your own. So when I actually got some help, it really saved me some time, but also saved me some money. It took a lot for me to admit that I was wallowing in self-pity. And the problem with wallowing is it really stops you finding solutions. You kind of get stuck. And it's also a place of fear where you're waiting for something else bad to happen. And I was really in that energy of everybody's done this to me. This is something that's happened to me. And if something's happened to you and you feel like everybody's done it to you, then it's very difficult to feel like you can do anything about it. And so I really had to say no to that and start to take a bit more responsibility, even though there had been some bad stuff happen to me and there were people who didn't serve me as they should have. I had to sort of move on from that. So who hasn't looked for a fast fix? I mean, come on, admit it. We've all been there. We've all done that. And in order to get better, I really had to start saying no to this one. I mean, it took me decades to realize this, but when I got to the point where I did, I realized that I'd been spending years looking for fast fixes and putting a lot of time into things which just didn't work. Because fast fixes don't exist. It takes a while to get sick and a little while to get better. And that's just how it is. So it either takes time to find the right thing, or it takes time for the right thing to work. And I get clients who expect a fast fix, and that's one of the reasons why I don't do single sessions anymore, because this work requires a little bit of time and you also need to be ready. And sometimes we're not ready to go as deep on things. It could be diet, supplements, it could be emotional work. We may not be ready to go as deep as we need to. And the other thing when we're looking for a fast fix is we get into a real desperate state. And so it stops us finding things that actually could make a big difference because we're always looking for that one thing that will just fix everything. I think it's time for some yeses, don't you think? Let's get positive. In all the years I'd been unwell, there came a point where I kind of hit pause in my life where I decided that I wasn't going to live anymore unless I was better. It became a rule that I followed, and I kind of shut out everything that I enjoyed over time, and life became very, very, very small. And it made being sick just that little bit more miserable. And what I didn't realize was that I was limited in what I could do, but not completely stopped from enjoying things that I liked. The illness limited me, but it didn't stop me. And it's a very subtle difference. So whilst dwelling on what I couldn't do made me miserable, while I was doing that, I wasn't actually enjoying the things that I could do. And it's much more expansive to live in that way. And as my health improved, I started to expand what I could do. So I joined the choir before I fully had my energy back, and I fostered guinea pigs while I still had some fatigue, and slowly but surely crammed more and more joy into my life. The thing was, I stopped laughing when I was ill, and I always used to be the joker. I was the class clown. I spent quite a bit of time out of the classroom for being naughty. And there's plenty of research out there which talks about the benefits of laughter, how it can make us more resilient, how it can boost our immune system. It has so many great benefits. And so when I realized that I was missing out by not laughing and I was fed up with feeling miserable, I really started to seek out laughter and watch box sets every day of comedy. So I would lie, I wasn't very well, I'd lie on the floor and watch funny things, and I made it part of a prescription for my health recovery to make sure I had a laugh every day. So I read recently about a study that talked about the mental and physical health benefits of interacting with animals. And I didn't know it at the time, but when I started to go out and seek the company of animals in my local park, I didn't realize I was doing myself so much good. But when I hit rock bottom, the only thing that got me out of the deep depression was spending time with animals. And I used to really look forward to spending time with them because they didn't judge me. And when I started to feel better, I started to foster guinea pigs and felt the joy that they brought into my life. And actually, those guinea pigs really accelerated my health recovery. I used to find it really hard to see friends and family because I never felt like I was understood. And so a lot of the time I had social anxiety about seeing people. And then once I'd seen them, I'd get angry and depressed because I felt so invalidated by some of the comments that they made. And it felt really lonely. And if I hadn't worked through it, I wouldn't have been able to enjoy the benefits that friends and family give us when we are chronically ill, because we are social beings and we do need social interactions. So once I got through this, it meant that I could enjoy the time that we had together and really take what I needed from the interactions. And I let go of that need for validation from friends and family. I didn't need them to tell me that I was having a rough time. I kind of knew that I was. And so I could enjoy their company, I could find the visits fun, but I was doing it on my own terms for a change. A lot of what I had to say no and yes to were really about getting my personal power back and really starting to own my recovery and getting out of that dark struggle that I was in. Because that's where a lot of us end up. We tried lots of things, we've seen lots of people, and we kind of lose hope, and life and healing really starts to feel like a struggle. So with that in mind, I have a fantastic 12-week program which I couldn't wait to get on here to tell you guys about. It's called Power to Heal, and it's a 12-week group program, small intimate groups coming together and helping each other to get through the struggle and into a place of empowerment and into a place of thriving. So if you're interested and you want to know more, I put a link in the description for the program prospectus. I think that's the word. Come and check it out. And I'd love to see some of you in January 2023. With chronic fatigue recovery, there's a lot of talk about the need to pace. And for someone like me, it was impossible. I'm an on or an off type of person. I can go all day and then at 9 o'clock, I just die and I go to bed. So instead of using my energy strategically when I first became ill, I would work all day in the kitchen and then have a crash in the afternoon. And I really had to say yes to giving myself permission to have space. And it seems like a crazy thing to give yourself permission for when you've got fatigue, but when you have such a long to-do list every day and you think that that is going to be the thing that helps you get better, there's a lot of pressure to keep going. So I had to say yes to not putting so much pressure on myself, and yes to taking breaks, and yes to breaks being part of healing rather than something that had to come at the end after I'd done all of the proper healing stuff. These yeses and nos really helped move my recovery forward, and alongside those there were some ahas as well, which were incredibly useful. So I detail those in this video. Go check it out next.